Oh, there's a lot of changes around here. I guess that's to be expected after 30 years or so. You know, I remember when those portables were right where that structure's been extended. School used to be a lot smaller. I suppose there's probably 3 times the students now then too. Well, here's a view of what it was like from this angle back in the 80s and the 90s. And this is a view of now, and then the 80s and the 90s with faces that I remember quite clearly. And yet again, that's where the portables were. Pretty extreme changes for that. I guess they didn't try very hard to make it look the same, did they? Probably cost more. I kind of like this edition. It looks like they got some further work going on. What looks like a kid's playground, which probably wasn't used very often last year, or probably not this year as well, thanks to this COVID thing. It does look pretty nice. Well, and you can just about see the Lee Side Towers over there. I guess the trees grew up. Oh, there's the auto shop. It's fenced in. I recall back in the 80s, the late 80s, a rival football team walking by, members of the team saying how we all look like prisoners behind that fence. And I remember my buddy Chris and his friends kicking the shit out of them, so that was kind of good. A very fond memory there. Body shop. Well, from here on, it kind of looks pretty much the way it did back then. Kind of futuristic in a way. Up until you get to see the new edition, that looks kind of crappy, but go Raptors. And there's Valley Park. I went there as well, but I have better memories of this place than that one, so.
All these fucking look at that.
Yeah, it looks like they have an extension as well.
It's like Valley Park got an addition too.
Barely see it behind those trees, which I don't believe were there when I was a kid. That just goes to show how much trees can grow in a couple of decades, I suppose. I even demonstrate it here in this video. I remember these being pretty small too at the time. front of the building looks kind of gloomy and dark.
The 80s.
This is what I was talking about. Not near as big. Really, this
cameras
picture
are
was
more high
taken in
tech.
the winter.
This one are those.
You say well shaded and kind of dark. This was early fall.
Fuck, am I even gonna be able to get out of here?
All their cameras are all netted
School
up.
office.
The nice angle of the building
security,
kind of has a very unwelcoming sort of prison-like look to it. I don't remember being it like that before, but changes are what they are. Even the garbage cans are netted up.
No smoking. Act of 2005. Well, I haven't been here since fucking 1990, so...
Walking through
kiss
here is
my
like walking
ass.
through a forest. There ain't much of anything there then.
These trees were not this big before.
They were all pines. Now these are all, I don't know, they look like they're diseased maples or something, but very dark and gloomy.
What the fuck's honking?
This is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I find assholes everywhere you fucking go. Do not cross. Well, we didn't have that. Man, did I rip that gas station off? Tons. Holy fuck. V-Power. So what happened to 7-Eleven? You get high and go there. We got high and went there a lot, remember? Hey, Tommy? And back to the school. That'd be a good idea to be able to see the fucking thing. What do you think? Do not cross. Fuck. I can see some of these kids jumping over that shit. Well, that does it for my... Remember all this. I guess that's a new entrance. Or at least, to me, it's new. To everybody, look at how rusty these poles are, so it's been here a while with all those cameras. I wonder if all those cameras even work. many vice principals are there? Principal. Vice principal. Vice principal. Vice principal. Vice principal. Noisy car. Superintendent. No, superintendent. Vice superintendent. Fucking idiot. Yeah. Johnny's old building. This is where my buddy John Cavanaugh lived till he moved to Oshawa.
I suppose this would conclude my little trip down memory lane.